Hello everyone. In this video we will start to talk about basic plotting in R. This is obviously an important part of R programming, and also for data analysis it will be quite useful. So let's start with some examples. Let's say we create a vector of points in R. Let's say we have some points with denoting the x coordinates. Let's say 2, we have 3.4, let's say 3.9, 4.2, etc. Okay, and we create another vector with, let's say, with some arbitrary values for the y coordinates to represent certain points in the x and y coordinate system. And let's say we have 6 points in these two vectors, so we can display them. If you run this, you can see this is our first vector and second vector. Now, if I want to plot these points, then I will use the simple plot function in R, and that will create us such a figure as you see here, with the x and y coordinates of each point here that is given according to the vectors that we entered. So here we have the x coordinate represented by this 4, and then the y coordinate represented by the second vector bar. And we have seen how the plot looks like. And also in R, these x and y locations don't necessarily need to be specified as separate vectors. We can also input these coordinates in the form of a matrix, and in that case the x values should be in the first column and y values should be in the second column. Again, let's see an example. Let's say we create now a matrix by binding these two vectors, let's say. Okay, so the column bind, the first column is x coordinates, the second column is going to be the y coordinates. And you can check this operation. And then now you can use the plot function. Okay. And if you test this, this is our plot, which is exactly the same. Okay, we didn't change the vectors, so the plot itself is still the same, but we can do this plotting in these two different ways. We have also a wide range of graphical parameters in R that can be supplied as arguments in our plot function. Basically, these parameters apply visual enhancements. For example, you can change the colors, you can add some axis labels, X label, Y label, or title for the plot. All these type of enhancements can be done using specific parameters in the plot function. For example, we can quickly do one example here. So suppose we are plotting these, and then we can select now the type, and the type basically tells R how to basically create these figure, such as you can use the standalone points, or you can have lines, for example. So if we choose, let's say, type L, and then try this again, our new plot here now connects these points using the line. Here we have these lines. Another one, I mean, you can change this, of course. If you choose this as P, that will be points only. And you can choose B for points and line both. Okay, so for example, this one. In this one, we have the points and the line, so both of them are displayed. Okay, so let's put some small note here, both point and line. This is the line, and this one is the point only representation of this plot. Okay, so we can also add some like labels and title. So let's also see those examples quickly. Let's say the type we have both, and then we can use the main now to give a title, my plot. I mean, you can give any title you want, of course. And then we can now give the X label, X, let's say axis, and we can call the Y label as now Y axis. Okay, that's all. And then let's try this one first. Okay, so as you see, if we make it a bit smaller, we have added the title, we have added X label and Y label. So this will make our plot more readable for the other users as well. And also one more detail, we can extend this. If you want to, let's say, put a new line in your title, let's say second line, okay? This is also possible, and you can run this line. And as you see, now we can enter a second line in our title. So this might be useful if you have a long title, and you can do that by entering a new line after the first part. With the new line you continue, okay? Other than that, we can again introduce some colors to our plot. So let me again copy this one. And then let's add some color argument here. So let's say this one equals to 2. By the way, we can check the colors function here. So you can see there's a list of all these different colors that we can use in R. I mean, it's quite long actually, but it lists these colors that we can choose from. So if we just run this one, as you see, we have changed the color to red basically in this plot. Or again, alternatively, let's copy this here. Now, instead of entering some numbers, actually we can enter the specific name by just choosing from this list. You can change the color of your plot, of your, points and line. So, for example, we can choose just simple blue, or we have blue 1, 2, 3, 4, I mean different versions of that, but just for the simple one, that should be fine for our plot. And now this becomes color blue. There are, of course, many other choices in creating our plots and improving the visual and display of these plots. Another thing we can do is basically we can specify the like point size, the line size, line width, these type of arguments. For example, the thickness of the lines, we can choose the line width. So this might be added LWD. So this can be equal to, let's say, equals to 3. I mean, you can adjust this and see how it changes. So now this is a thicker line, as you see, or you can make it 2, and this is a bit it's a bit thinner than the previous one. Other than that, again, you can add some arguments. Let's put it here. Points, for example, let's say PCH for, let's say, the size of the points. So let's make this 15 and try again. So we change these to like squares. We can change it to the squares, or we can choose another one. Let's say 10. And you see there are lots of different choices for the selection of the type of the points, basically. And you can also change the change this to 1, let's say, and this comes back to our default as the simple circle here. We can also adjust the limits of our plot. I mean the region limits, we can change them. So let's see a few examples for that, and then we will finish this video. So let's keep this one, and we can define the x limit. For example, if I want this from let's say 0 to 5, and then y lim, we can also choose something from, let's say, -1 to 1. I mean, I just made this arbitrary choice, but obviously you can adjust these depending on the scale of your plot and the range of these values. But you can easily change this, let's say -5. Okay, so you can play with these axes as well. Let's stop here, and in the next video about plotting we will see some more examples and details. So thank you for watching.